is for
BTS.
BTS.
How well can the K-pop band BTS pronounce words in English? Hey guys, this is Jeff of Fluent American, and we've analyzed lots of people's English for pronunciation, trying to identify things that people are doing well. And I think it's a helpful tool for language learners to try to identify trends in their own speech. And I have here about 6 different things I want you to be paying attention to in their speech, starting off with...
They were about 200 to 300 people.
Short I sounds. Now again, with the short I, or what you're doing is you're lowering the back of your tongue, raising the middle, and also lowering the front of your tongue. Also, the sides of your tongue should touch your top teeth, and it should sound like This is going to appear in lots of positions in English, a lot of times where words are reduced or not stressed. For instance, take a listen to this.
200.
So instead of saying hundred, I would suggest saying it more like id, hundred. So again, it's a reduced sound. The stress is really going to be on that first syllable, the hun. But here for that second part, it's going to be more id. Hundred.
They were about 200 to 300 people.
Other pronunciations that can be a little bit tricky include the letter L. For instance, listen to this.
So fast, and it was overwhelming.
Overwhelming. You want that L sound just to be a little bit stronger. In this case, what it does is it kind of gives some backbone to the word. Otherwise, it sounds like overwhelming, but it's more overwhelming. Again, it just adds a little bit more structure, a little bit more sound to that.
So fast, and it was overwhelming.
Of course, L sounds can be tricky for lots of different language groups, so just make sure you're making that strong contact with the tip of your tongue and the top of your mouth. Of course, English does also have a dark L sound where those L's aren't as pronounced. For instance, take a look at a word like ball. You don't need to say it like ball. But if you want some more information about those dark L's and how to pronounce it, be sure to check out our dark L video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel.
Half and up.
Half and half,
Yeah.
okay.
Half and up.
Other sounds that can be tricky, another vowel sound here with the ah sound. Ah, for instance, like in cat. To make this sound, you're lowering the back and the front of your tongue, raising the middle of your tongue. In fact, when you say it, you should see the middle of your tongue between your teeth. Again, like cat. Now, if you don't raise that middle of your tongue high enough and make your lips just a little bit tense, it's going to sound more like this.
Half and half,
Yeah.
okay.
You hear the difference, like half, but it's more half. Again, more ah. And also this ah sound is going to do something a little bit particular when it links with the letter N. It's going to shift a little bit. You're going to feel your tongue slide back, and you're going to do a heavy breath out of your nose before the N sound. So for instance, listen to how he says this.
Our dance.
Dancing?
Yeah.
But instead of dance, it's more dance. Hear that breakup? Like and. So again, almost like 2 separate parts. But again, a heavy breath out of your nose. Dance. Just watch out a little bit for those ah sounds.
Our dance.
Another thing too that you want to be careful of in English, English is a language that's paying so much attention to vowel sounds. So you want to be careful with your consonants. Don't let your consonants take over your words. For instance, here.
M is for moon, sugar.
Moon.
To pronounce it just a little bit more clearly, I would suggest moon. The oo sound needs to be stronger than the N, so don't rush to that N sound. Make sure that the oo sound is really clear, and then you can add that N sound after. Moon. So again, that N sound is really just added at the end of that vowel.
M is for moon, sugar.
Other things too that you want to be paying attention to are intonation patterns. We've talked about intonation before in other videos, so if you're not familiar with it, be sure to check out them. But just again to go over the basics, there's rising intonation like rise, and there's also falling intonation like fall. They do serve different purposes in sentences. They convey slightly different meanings when you're rising or when you're falling, which also means that in some situations you're more likely to use a rising intonation. In other situations, you're more likely to use a falling intonation. For instance, here,
Right, of course.
I still can never forget it.
there's more of a rising intonation when I think it would have sounded a little bit more natural to use a falling intonation.
I still can never forget it.
Still can never forget it. Forget it. So instead of forget, more forget. Really with the heavy falling intonation on that. Forget. Especially because this is a simple sentence. It's not asking a question. It's not showing surprise. It's not trying to show continuation of speech. You know, when you just have a sentence that you're finishing, typically what's going to happen is you're going to have falling intonation. So I would definitely recommend getting familiar with intonation patterns and when they're used. Hey guys, really quick, if you're looking for daily pronunciation practice and feedback, why not check out our Telegram group? You can find out more information at patreon.com/fluentamerican. Lastly, you just want to be careful with word stress.
It's about health.
Health.
No injuries.
Yes.
And
No
Grammys.
injuries.
이동해야지 그럼.
It's very easy to put the stress on the wrong part of a word. For instance, here,
Health.
No injuries.
injury. Injury. So for injury, you're actually going to stress that first syllable, not any of the other ones. It's just injury. Injury. Have other people whose English you'd like to see analyzed in a future video? Be sure to let me know in the comments.